Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to this reading. So, this seems to be the day of weird backgrounds or views. I recorded one earlier where I just pointed the camera up to an umbrella and the shadows. Now, as you can see, we are looking at a wall, also at the shadows and light. Yeah, so this is what it seems like the topic of the day, shadows. We are looking at a few different aspects here. But before I want to go into the topic, and maybe you can hear, I'm walking around, I'm walking through the garden here, and I've just been picking up my cards before I sit down next to you here at that wall. Yeah, before I jump into it, if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to this weird space of mine where we look at walls and watch shadows and light move around. This is probably what you could maybe sum up my readings. Watching shadow and light move around. For real. Yeah, if you're new here, my readings are a little bit different. They can be sometimes a bit weird, usually quite a deep dive, quite the journey. If you like that, welcome, you're in the right space. So let's see. Before I started the video or the reading, I jumped because I got scared of my own shadow. Or not my own shadow, but I got scared of a shadow. And I am also recognizing right now that I am barefoot, and we are sitting under a cherry tree, and I must have walked into a cherry. So now I have all those red stains on my foot, and I'm not kidding, it looks like blood. So if I didn't know that I stepped into cherries, I might think that I hurt myself, but I actually didn't. So there's something like some kind of theme about being scared of shadows, being scared of something that is not what it seems like what it is. And in that other reading, we were also talking about those children's games where you make movements with your hand and you project shadows onto the wall, and this can be a bit scary. That shortly came up in that reading, and then we didn't go any deeper. So it seems like that this is like a sequel of the other reading. I want to dive a little deeper into this and see what Spirit wants to share with us about that. So I do have my Tarot and Oracle decks here with me. But I think I will let you just keep on watching the wall. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of life going on in that wall, to be honest. I would like to know if you see something. If you feel like it, share it in the comments that you see something, some life happening on that drystone wall there. There are a lot of things hiding in those drystone walls, right? There's like all kinds of animals living in there. Lizards, sometimes snakes. There's actually a lizard just walking by. You don't see it. Maybe if you're lucky, it'll climb up the wall and you can watch the lizard. It's looking at me right now. Oh, it doesn't have a tail anymore. Oh, okay. I'm I'm going off on tangents here, but usually they are happening for a reason. Usually they're happening for a reason. Yeah, right, the drystone walls. Like there's a lot of life happening in there. There are a lot of animals finding shelter in there, but they are hidden. So you could get scared of what's living in there because you don't know what's living in there. But the thing is, the creatures that are living in there, they're equally as scared of you. Okay. What do you want to say with that, Spirit? Can we be a little more clear, maybe? Huh. Yeah, there's... Again, they're bringing me back to that because I see some leaves shaking, like a person shaking out of fear. Okay, something about an overactive nervous system. Like you're jumping, like you say, being scared of your own shadow. Seeing your own shadow reflected back at you. So you might want to watch that other reading I just mentioned because I was talking in there about how archetypes that are present within ourselves but are not, like we are not conscious of them, are showing up for us in the outside world. And by showing up in our external world, they are trying to make themselves known in our lives so that we can recognize them inside ourselves, integrate them, and then they don't have to show up in our outside world anymore. So if there are things that are scaring you, it's literally like being afraid of your own shadow. And this can feel like a pretty drastic thing to say, right? If there's like a really scary, like if there's something that's scaring you and I'm telling you right now, like, well, this is actually just an aspect of yourself that you're afraid of. I know how this sounds. I know this sounds maybe a little harsh. And I do want to, like, I know anxieties and all of those things, and like they can be really, they're not easy to live with. I've been there. I know the pain. But I'm getting the fork in the road card in reverse, and it looks like that you are at a point in your life where you're actually ready to move beyond your fears and your anxieties. You're ready to actually look the villain into the face and recognize it for what it is, a shadow aspect of the self. I'll come to the edge in reverse. Like I said, this can feel like a very, like, this is a radical, it feels to people, if you say stuff like that, it feels radical. But there's something about protection. Yeah, the wall. There's a reason why we're looking at a wall. So if we, okay, so I guess you're a spiritual person. if you're watching my readings, if you're here, you're a spiritual seeker. You're someone who's looking for the deeper truths in life, the meaning in life. So you're probably maybe even on a path to the higher consciousness, maybe even enlightenment. One of the, maybe the only truth that we always can come back to is the law of one, the law of oneness, that everything in this universe comes from one source. Everything is one. So everything that is showing up in your outer world, in your reality, is part of yourself, because you are part of the all of everything. You are the all of everything. And the biggest illusion that we have as humans in this life is that we think that the rest of the world is separate from us. And for those who are on a quote unquote spiritual path and they are trying to come into oneness, they're thinking about light. They're always thinking about, oh, I want to become one with source. I want to become one with light. I want to become with God, with like those higher, those beautiful higher energies. But the fact is, it's not just about light. It's also about the shadows. Sometimes even more so, because no, both are equally important. But we tend to shy away from the shadows a lot more than from the light. I mean, that's also not always true. That let's just go with it. Let's just say, like, sometimes it's like really, really hard to face our own shadows. So we tend to not accept that certain things that are happening in our lives are actually our own shadows that are confronting us with parts of ourselves that we are not willing to acknowledge, not willing to see. And so the ego self, the false identity that we live with in this life, and I'm speaking about so you can give it different names, kind of like little ego, because there's also such a thing as like a higher ego, but let's just say like the little ego, the one that is not very conscious and trying to protect itself all the time and sees itself separate from the rest of the world. That ego is living in the illusion that it's separate from the rest of the world, and it's trying to get confidence from that. It's trying to get it's defining its complete existence through that. So it's walling off. It's building that artificial wall around itself, and it's always trying to protect itself from something. And acknowledging that what we see in the outside world, the things that we don't like, the shadows that we are confronted with, that those are actually part of ourselves, that they're actually reflecting back parts of ourselves that we are not willing to see, that we are maybe even scared of to acknowledge. That's not just uncomfortable, but it can be even scary. So there you go, like you are scared of your own shadow. But at the same time, this also means that there lies true empowerment. If you understand that to be true, if you see that this is a deeper truth of reality, you can come to the understanding that it's in your own power to work with that shadow, to integrate it, and that there's no reason to be scared of it. You don't have to be anxious of it, because it's you, it's yourself. So you also have control over the whole thing. not in a, oh, I'm controlling this in order to protect myself more kind of way, but in the, oh, I can consciously meet this shadow, and by doing that, accepting it as part of myself, acknowledging it as that, integrating it, and then, for one, becoming more whole, more consciously whole. And at the same time, oh, and I just saw the lizard again, the lizard that had lost its tail. So yeah, like you've been losing parts of yourself in order to protect yourself. Lizards do that, right? When they get caught on their tail, they can just drop it and run away. And it's a protection mechanism. Same thing for the ego. It learned to protect itself by cutting off, dropping off, separating certain parts of itself so that it doesn't have to engage with those parts because it felt dangerous for it. Usually that happened either in a different lifetime, or if you want to hold it, like keep it solely psychological, like we do that in childhood to some extent. Like every person does that to some extent, but it's especially true for people who endured childhood trauma. You have to separate certain parts of yourself. I'm often calling it freezing out certain parts of yourself, and store them away, separate them from yourself so that you don't have to consciously engage with them anymore because there's too much pain in there. But the thing is that our soul is actually trying to become whole again. It wants to become one with everything again. And it's starting with the self. So in order to become one again, you need to collect the different parts of yourself that you lost along the way. And there was another message coming out the other day about how the Soul Collective is working big time on recollecting different soul parts. So when you meet those external shadows, they're actually showing you another part of yourself that your soul wants to collect and reintegrate in order for you to become more whole. But the little ego finds this very, very dangerous because it wants to protect you. Okay, everything is coming out in reverse. So it seems like why is everything in reverse? There's some doubt. It's not real resistance because you want to grow. You're a person, you want to grow. I can see see a person dropping the weapons. I feel like you've dropped your weapons because you know that you're like, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm sick of fighting. I'm sick of always having to fight, to work so hard. Like there's a lot of exhaustion in there. But there's a bit of like a doubt feeling or like a searching energy. As I said earlier, a spiritual searcher or seeker, spiritual seeker. Someone who's seeking the truth, but it's You're in this weird in-between space right now with the Between Worlds card. It feels a bit like a liminal space you're in right now. Yeah, like this wall. When you're sitting on a wall, you're sitting right on the borderline. I mean, there's even the saying sitting on a fence means like you're not quite sure, like, what is true? What should I do? Is this the right decision or not? Like, so, but I also feel like this, like, yeah, but I'm kind of through with the old way of thinking. I do understand that this is not working for me anymore. So I'm looking for new answers. And it seems like you want to look into. So, okay, you kind of do understand that you need to look into like all the different like hidden spaces within that wall in order to find out what's really going on, for you to find out the truth, to find life again, to find the because, like I said, there's a lot of life happening in the wall, in the dry stone wall. But like at first glance, it looks like it's just a wall. There's not much going on. But since I've been sitting here, like I see all kinds of lizards and insects crawling around. I mean, there are plants growing out of it, on it. There's a lot of life in there. But we actually need to seek it out. We have to look very, very closely to find it. Okay, what else? What else? It's a blessed card, not in reverse. That also came out in the other reading. So yeah, you're actually this is like confirmation. It's like, yeah, you're doing the right thing. What you're doing the right thing. And it might, to you, it might feel confusing. And you're, like I said, like there's some doubt energy. But this is confirmation for you. Like you are in the right place right now. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. It's important for your evolution. It's important for your further growth. And the path will lead you to happiness if you keep doing that. Like I said, becoming whole again, collecting those parts of you. And like this whole process can be very, very confusing. It's not easy. It can really, it asks a lot of us. But I can tell from experience, it's actually worth it. It really is. And the fact that you've been sitting here with me looking at a dry stone wall for I don't know how long, my camera is too far away, probably half an hour or so, shows some amount of dedication. Yeah. Oh, there's the lizard without a tail again. It does look pretty fresh. The wound does look pretty fresh. It's looking at me, checking out. Friend or foe? It looks poised, even though it has a pretty, like it doesn't have a tail anymore, and the wound looks rather fresh. It's still like, well, you want to mess with me? This is the look it's giving me. You see, I already lost a tail. I'm willing to fight. I'm thinking of Monty Python right now. It's just a blood wound. Blood wound. The crazy rabbit and the knight. So yeah, you seem to be a person who is pretty much of a, like you're used, like you're a fighter, but like I said before, you don't really want to fight anymore. You put down the weapons, but you know that you can fight. So you have a lot, like you have it in you. You have what it takes to, yeah, to walk this path. Because it's not an easy path. It's not an easy path. So I feel like I've been rambling now for the last few minutes. Is there anything else that wants to come through? One more card, they're saying. Okay, so there's something about trust your intuition and co-creation. Yeah, chaos and conflict and co-creation. So by walking through this chaos and conflict and like this unsettling period in your life, you are becoming what I like to call a conscious creator, someone who is so highly attuned to what's going on in their life, to like all the facets of reality and the energies that are at play, that you basically you learn how to create your own reality, the reality that you want to show up in your life. And this is basically the most empowering thing a person can do, to understand that the reality they live in is actually of their own doing. And when you learn to understand that, you also hold the keys to create the reality that you want. And all this chaos and conflict you might be in right now is necessary in order to, for one, I hear, to clean up the mess, clean up the mess in your life. Yeah, cleaning up the mess that we created over lifetimes, basically. That's just another way of saying, like, we have to work through karma to do that. So, okay, like, there's one thing about cleaning up the mess, but at the same time, we are learning valuable lessons. So this is a time of learning. This is a time of apprenticeship. It came through in another reading earlier as well. So, yeah, exciting times. Very exciting. Just as exciting as staring at a dry stone wall for half an hour. All right, my loves. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking with it. I hope you enjoyed it. I really would love to see you here, to hear from you if you saw anything. If you got something from the wall, if it told you anything. Maybe it did. And yeah, if you liked it, if you found it helpful, you could help me out by subscribing to the channel, leaving a like, or if you feel like it, also leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And oh my god, did you just see that? I don't know if the camera picked it up, but there was a lizard running through it, through the frame. There was some real life happening here on that wall. Alrighty, my friends. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you made it till the end and saw the lizard, you can let me know as well. And yeah, I send you all my love. I'm hoping to see you in the next video. And until then, take care. Bye.